Morning, bears selling everything. This is NC Hammer Crypto. My name's Neil. We keep technical analysis short and sweet. Starting off with Bitcoin, as always, we have that major dump from the all-time high at 123. Is this something to be concerned about? No. In general, no. We are still above the CM Guppy. We are well above the 200 EMA, which is down here at 102. Like I said, could we see a retracement back down to 108,000? Yes, that is a possibility. One moment. There we go. So that is a possibility for Bitcoin to be hitting 108. So nothing to keep, be worried about, but it's just something to keep in mind. That would create a newer low. However, with the Bitcoin decrease in price, we can actually start seeing an increase in price in other cryptocurrencies. For example, like Bitcoin is dropping, it's bringing the rest of the market down. But like I brought up the other day, Toshi had that major pump within one day, high volume, about 81%. Bitcoin dropped massively. This one dropped down nearly 50% of that and is holding steady. This is why the other day I was saying don't enter on these major pushes up as you miss the train. It's going to be coming back to the station, potentially all the way back down to the 200 EMA, which you may have a better entry. However, we are getting some wick-offs right here, which you could say that the CM Guppy on the daily, this could potentially be very hot, and it may not even enter in to the second CM Guppy line here. However, this Toshi is at an absolute low. It's just something to keep in mind. It's not the best bet. As we've seen right here, we push up way over, have the consolidation, two more pushes, and then it retraces almost to its low before retracing back to the 200 EMA and breaking it and taking off. So this is not the best bet to be entering just because of high volume. The RSI is overbought. We need to see a little bit more consolidation and support off that 200 EMA before entering a bigger position on Toshi or CSTI. IOTX, just like Tornado Cash, which I will bring up next, extremely healthy, flirting with the 200 EMA here, trying to get over it. We ultimately need to get over the 0.34 cents, try and build some support on this upward trend line. And if we see that starting to build support, we could expect to potentially be hitting up here around the 0.34 cents and way, way beyond. Why is this happening? Why is it not pumping when Bitcoin hit its all-time high? Well, we pushed way out of the overbought area and needed to consolidate back into the RSI. And now we need the purple to cross over yellow. We may get a little bit of a rejection even after we cross it like we did here, which may push it a little lower, but we already hit the 618 and we're holding this upward trend line. So IOTX is looking better and better by the day. It's not even decreasing a whole bunch in price when Bitcoin is dropping by the thousands. I think it was 124 and now we are at 115,000. Pretty major price reduction for IOTX to not even budge, which brings me to Tornado Cash. You can buy Tornado Cash on MEXC. I always recommend it. The reference link is in the description below. However, we are holding very strong support on this 200 EMA. You see these major wick-offs that tried to go below, and everybody's buying up within this area. With Bitcoin being adopted to the US and everything, Bitcoin is going to continue upwards. We just have to have pullbacks, as we typically see anywhere from 20 to 30% pullbacks on Bitcoin, which money then flows into Ethereum. Ethereum hit its all-time high, then it flows out of Ethereum into smaller cap coins like Tornado Cash, IOTX, and all those others. So you may see 50% gain in one day, as for example, we saw back here, something happened, and it was 610% in about 2 days. So about 300% gain in one day is not out of sight for something like this. And a 300% gain from current price is well over $32. We're looking at about $48, $49.50 for 300. If we do the 600 yet again, that's up to around $81. You're going to really miss out if you do not enter this coin at $11. None of this is financial advice. I just want you guys to make money and be like, look, NC Hammer Crypto, Neil, help me make this money and spread the word. As we all, if we work together, we can make a lot of money because more people are putting money into the market and taking it out at those exact moments, making us all winners. But again, none of this is financial advice. It's just observation. Dogecoin is trying to break over that 24 cents. As we see, it got rejected multiple times here. And we are consolidating, gathering some cash before the next move up. We are holding pretty strong on the upward trend line, holding very strong above 21 cents. And we pretty much just need to be holding within this area, and we'll start seeing it push above 24, and beyond 24 is 29, and beyond up to 48 cents. And the percent increase that I would need, as I said, you're going to start seeing things take off 120% without notice. So definitely stack your bags. Dogecoin is in consolidation and right at the 50 on the RSI. Everything is looking good for Doge, even with Bitcoin's pullback. Moving on to Aerodrome. If you guys missed the entry on Aerodrome, which in my signal channel, it was down here at 77 cents. Even just holding and not selling at its peak, where we had multiple options at 86%, you are still up 67%. It could potentially retrace back to this black downward trend line, being still a 50% increase within a few days. Just entering in with the trading signal channel, but we mainly just need to hold above this part on the CM guppy where the blue meets the green and stay above that RSI. And this is going to start turning very, very bullish. Moving on to XCN, everybody's favorite. I have to add it in with a bunch of random coins, so you guys will actually watch the video. And looking at XCN, I removed all the Skittle stuff, and we're just looking at the bare bones of what the structure is creating. First thing I notice is the RSI is almost completely oversold. Then I go back, what is the previous RSI completely oversold? Right here, which looking on the chart is right here at 0.01317. Then we had that move up to the middle, retracement, and then a push up to the overbought, which is around 0.019. And that increase, whenever we were oversold, was about a 57% increase. It's definitely going to be a lot bigger now that we are oversold on this RSI. Oh, no. On the RSI. Terrible. Just terrible. That's just terrible trading view. So we're going to pull back up the relative strength index. I'm also going to bring up Narian Watson because a lot of people don't know about Narian Watson. It's a different way to look at the entire picture. As you see, there's not any information from it until we get to this point, the green line and the red line. Looking in further at XCN, we see that it pushed up towards the top of this green line, got rejected, came down, and this would be a straight channel, and then out of nowhere, it pushed up and out of the green area, consolidation back under the red, pushing up and way out and beyond the green area on the Narian Watson. Here we are at the bottom of the red. We may see some consolidation right on this upward black trend line, which is going from this point, touching this point, and potentially creating another bottom here. Is it possible to push down to 0.009 or 0.00866? Yes, that is a possibility. If we are closing above this area, we are still in the green for the go. And looking at the ultimate bigger picture, there's your W. So it's just kind of a play it out, wait it out kind of game for XCN. If you did not sell to try and stack a bigger bag when you had the opportunity here, 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 or here. We pushed over that downward trend line, so we knew this pump was coming, just not as how high. We just kind of made the downward trend line, which it respected, and started to come back down into this upward trend line. And we just need to stay within this triangle. Let's make these a little bit darker so you guys can see this area and this area. And that is a bullish wedge. Everything is looking very, very good for XCN. If it does break this line, the next area we want to see for support is this black trend line, which is also within this fair value gap, which is also at this point of the previous touch to the low, and that would be completely oversold, which would ultimately make this very bullish, pushing it back up towards this downward trend line, which we would ultimately need to break, potentially test as support, and then ultimately take off for XCN, as it has a very long way to go. If you sold your bag, I feel sorry for you, as this is some pretty exponential gains for XCN. Rejection on pin link, holding support on the CM guppy, trying to build higher lows, and we just need to cross over that 200 EMA. That's pretty much everything for pin link. Compound trying to hold support on this green upward trend line, and we are getting a little bit of a wick off, meaning we are still getting buyers within this area. This sharper downward trend line explains what we really need to break before heading into this range. And once we get into this range, we need to break over this downward trend line and then test it as support. So pretty important line on that one, and pretty important line on this one as well. But compound, it's giving you multiple opportunities to enter in at these prices right here around 46, even 44. So if you haven't entered compound for the swing, it's definitely highly recommended. Moving on to QNT, and we got to do a couple more a little bit quicker. QNT broke underneath that upward trend line. It does not look the best, as I have explained. We could potentially head all the way down to the $60 mark, which is cutting profits in half from people who have entered at 120. If you did not sell at 96, I would not recommend selling down here at 63, as if it does reach down there to show oversold, it's going to reach right back up very, very quickly. And by that, I mean it could be days, it could be a week, but it's very quick for the fluctuation of volatility within the coin. However, the main thing to keep in mind is we did cross underneath that 200 EMA, and then we shot right back up and beyond the previous high. So if we cross underneath this 200 EMA, that's still a potential to shoot right back up and beyond the previous high, which was a higher high, but we did not hold it, and we started making higher lows or lower highs, which started this downward trend line. So if we push underneath the 200 EMA, we could see that very short time frame. This was within 3 days. A lot of people are panicking, selling out, and a lot of people overbought them and shot the price upwards. Here we are doing the similar thing. We could potentially be coming right here, which is testing off this 5 on the Fibonacci, not heading completely to the 618, and then potentially getting some support and start pushing back upwards. Trying to show you the bullish outcome. The bearish outcome obviously looks scary, but we see that within very short amount of time, even hitting the absolute low. What is this? Let's get an actual day for you. That was about a month. A couple weeks of panic, and then in 1 month, we saw a 207% gain, which a 207% gain from the low is about here, which is about $200, more or less. So even if it hits that absolute low, we can most likely expect to push right back up to around 204. So just keep that in mind. If you haven't entered quant, keep an eye on it and wait for it to get near this 200 EMA before deciding to enter a trade. None of it's financial advice in any way, obviously. And BNT, very healthy, very stable, just like Tornado, just like Compound, just like the other one I explained, IOTX. Very healthy chart, keeping the 200 EMA nice and close, still building higher lows, staying above the CM guppy, respecting Fibonacci. This chart is a beautiful chart if you're trying to learn. If we get rid of absolutely everything, we already know that it's forming that inverse head and shoulders, but the ultimate 618 retracement from its bottom, this being the bottom, 618 is up here at $1.31. So definitely double money at minimum for the 618 from this previous high. Is it possible to go to nearly $2 from this area? Yes, that is a possibility. Beyond that is still also a possibility, all the way up to 3, and the all-time high for this is $20. So if you're missing the 78-cent bag stacking opportunity, also, again, I feel sorry for you. Great opportunity on BNT as long as we are holding above this trend line and keeping that 200 EMA close. This thing will light off when it's given the moment. Which brings me to DNT, perfect for scalping. If you guys have missed some scalp entries, talked about it in the previous video, there's about 20 to 30% in each one of these wick offs. You buy underneath the 200 EMA, sell at say 3.5 at a minimum. I mean, you're good. We are currently underneath the 200 EMA. You might want to see a little bit further drop, but buying in this area, you could potentially see a very quick, within 1 day, 18% gain 1 day. However, it is about to break over this 200 EMA, and this thing is going to go parabolic when it finally does. I put these green boxes here as shown back here in November. We had the green box, we had the push-up, long consolidation, complete retest down to its low of 0.02 cents, and then a massive pump all the way up here to 20 cents, 10x within like 2 weeks. So DNT is definitely something on my radar. And then last two, D-Force and GRT. GRT is breaking this upward trend line, doesn't look the best. It's not a reason to sell if you are in it, as the absolute low is right here. We may see a little bit further low, and then beyond that, the next stop is 0.07, and the 618, we are trying to hold the 618 right here. And if we build support, then we can start seeing this push upward, obviously, but we mainly need to get over that 200 EMA. And lastly, D-Force, I bet this is a 20-minute video, my God. D-Force still trying to consolidate and potential to push up. I think it was about a 40% increase to this area. So if you're entering anywhere within this area, it may be a little finicky, a little bit up and down, but a 40% potential is a very nice potential if you are in on D-Force. All references in the description below. Good luck, have fun with it. I will see you guys on the next one.